Oh, I think she's frozen.
Oh no. Well, I guess it's gonna be me.
There you go. All
Go ahead, Bex. It's you.
right. Hey, everybody. How are you today? Happy Canadian Thanksgiving tomorrow to everybody who celebrates. Thank you for joining us today on Spirit Sessions. We have an amazing show in store for you guys today. And please take time to share this out. Invite your friends. Hey, T, welcome back. You want to carry over? You can get in there and finish the intro.
Yeah, I'm so sorry, you guys. I guess it was stage fright and my Wi-Fi just blew off. But step up, everyone. I know Bex was doing a good job, but step up. Here's some smudge. Let's just let go of all the negativity right now and take a deep breath. Oh my gosh, we get to enjoy each other for a little while, us and you. I could feel the warmth in my belly of all of you being here. So thank you. Keep sharing it out. And we have a good friend on this show today who we're excited to have. We have Peroshini. And let's get right to it. So, Bex, let us know, why have we got Peroshini on our show for the third time?
Yeah, absolutely. Parashni has been a huge part of my personal spiritual awakening. And, it's just been such an amazing experience to be able to learn from her and follow her pages. If you look, Angels and Empaths is an amazing page to follow, lots of support, positive posts and everything that's just been really, really beneficial to me in my own journey, as well as her page, Peroshini Naidoo, on Facebook. It's just seeing her and being able to experience her beautiful energy and the way that she shares her gifts has been so aligned with my awakening, my being able to truly step into my power and being able to acknowledge my gifts and abilities as well. And we had her on the show before. She shared about Crystal Children, which is an amazing, amazing show. You can find in our replays on YouTube and here on Facebook. She also came on with her husband, Charles Virtue, and they talked about angelic communication, which, again, an amazing show. Every time she comes on, it's like we're all next level here every single time. We are so honored to have you, Parashni. Thank you for coming back. We love, love, love having you here.
Thank you so much for the kind words. And hello, everyone at home. It's a pleasure to connect with all of you. Like we discussed, I started doing angel work, but my love is always animals and nature. And I hope we can share some of that with you today. I'm a teacher, I'm a public speaker, and I'm passionate about nature and our animal friends.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm so excited to find out more about animals today and the animal communication. And I know that that's something that you've been working a lot more towards lately, is being able to share that gift with others and helping them to find ways to tap into that themselves. So, can you talk a little bit about why that's so important right now for us to be able to start really opening up to the idea of communicating with the animals and with nature?
Well, as most of you know, our planet is going through a really big shift energetically, and it has been for the last few years. And that means a lot of beautiful things for us, but it also, above and beyond, it means a reconnection with everyone on the planet, everything, every life force. Nature is intertwined. We are all dependent on each other to survive. And as we're seeing this last year, removing ourselves from nature has consequences energetically for us and also as a species. Our planet can't function properly if we're all at odds. And so going back into that flow of nature, bringing humanity back to where we're meant to be, opens up a whole other realm that we just can't even imagine. And I can speak personally because just a little story. I've been working on my animal communication course for about a year now, and it's something I've done for forever, for the longest time. I love animals, I love nature and fairies. And last year I decided, well, I'm going to go and get this class out and share it with everyone. And I was so excited. And so I called on the fairies and I said, please help me, tell me what you want me to share with others. Prepare me for this. And a year later, and I'm still learning, but it really showed me how the difference is. Because I am still learning, it's brought me back into the flow with nature. Communicating with animals is one thing, communicating with fairies is another, but actually accepting that I'm a part of nature and that the laws that govern nature also govern my own life and my own path and purpose, that's shifted everything in a huge way. And that is what I would like to share with you today at home, so you can be a part of that flow and really receive the blessings that come with it.
I love that. Thank you so much. What can you tell us? I guess, because it is such a wide spectrum, so many different levels, what can you tell us about the most basic purpose of communicating with animals?
The basic, it's different for everybody because we all have different challenges in life and different gifts. We all kind of stagnate on different things. So what comes easily for one person will not for another. But there's so much to be gathered from working with animals. The living in the now is something that a lot of people really resonate with and really benefit from when they are connected with nature and communicating with animals. Animals have a way of living in the moment. They're not worried about yesterday. They're not planning ahead for tomorrow. It's just they live in the moment. And when they live in the moment, it frees up so much of your energy to do what you're meant to do instead of just sitting there creating scenarios. The human mind is incredibly powerful. And so just being in that flow with nature and communicating with animals, you get on a different wavelength. You get on a wavelength of just being present and being wholly present. And that it shifts everything. It's such a huge shift. So that is probably the one aspect that most people really connect to and really report benefits from when they connect with animals. It's just being present.
Absolutely. And I know that you mentioned also that part of communicating with animals actually helps to activate your third eye more.
It really does. It really does. And it's not just our third eye. That's the most common that most people find, or most people report, but it opens up all our psychic gifts. When you are interested in anything spiritual or esoterical, it means you're remembering what you used to do in other lifetimes. And so when you open up one sense, a lot of people think, it's a difficult topic to talk about because being in this industry, people do classes for everything. And these classes are wonderful, but it makes people think that, well, if I'm a medium, I can only be a medium. If I'm connecting with angels, I can only do that. The truth of the matter is, if you can do one thing, you can do everything, because energy is simply energy. And so if you are interested at all in animal communication, do know that you can do it. It's something you simply remember. And so that's what I like. It opens up not just your third eye, it opens up all those chakra centers that influence our psychic gifts. And so by connecting with animals, you're really opening yourself up. Your clairsentience, I think it's clairaudience, everything opens up for you, which is really nice.
Yeah, I love that so much. And Kira, one of our viewers, said, my German Shepherd and I have telepathic conversations at eye contact. Best conversation ever. I can totally relate to that. My cat, Fat Joey, used to stare me down. I could tell he was using his Jedi mind tricks to try to get me to feed him because all he wanted was food. And so I would say to him, nope, it's not going to work. I'm stronger than that. But I could feel it when he was like, feed me, Mom. I totally relate to that. It's amazing how animals can find a way to relate to each person. You can find that they especially, animals in the home will find a way to relate to each person in the home in their own way. They learn how to become, bonded with each person in a different way. It's not like they just are one way. It's so cool how they become very fluid in the home like that.
It's because they're tuned into that energy and they're living in the now.
Yeah.
It's great that we have language. It's great that we have, written word. These are all things that are wonderful, but we are animals ourselves, and, we're housed in a physical body. And so we are connected to everything else. And the reason animals have that beautiful flow, Max, is because they are, they're in the energy. And so they can, and it's so beneficial. I know for me, since I've started animal communication, it is exactly like you said, that you can connect with these animals and you can find a common ground, no matter how different you are, and that's with people too. It's something that working with animals has taught me.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so much fun. And I find that even in nature, you always see the animal that's going to benefit you the most at that moment. Those divine messengers that they are, you'll find a feather and you'll look up that bird and it'll have a message that's exactly what you needed to hear at that moment, or you'll see the animal. It's just so perfectly aligned. They're always reaching out to us, wanting to communicate with us, wanting us to know that they're there to love and support us. And I think that's such an important thing for us to remember, and being able to be in the flow of that as well, is such a healing process.
That's actually a wonderful segue, because I did want to talk about something that happened to me most recently, that basically describes exactly what you were saying, Max. Just probably a few months ago, I had some uncertainty about my living situation. And I was outside. There's a little chair and table out there, and I was sitting by the pool, and I was stressing and stressing and stressing and thinking, what's going to happen in the future, like we do, calling on my angels and trying to get that answer. And of course, all I was fear. I was just this little ball of fear. And all of a sudden, I saw something zoom by my eyes, and I heard very clearly, "You will not have to move." Very clearly, very loudly. And there was my little hummingbird friend sitting there looking at me. And this hummingbird is not one that I have many conversations with. He's very territorial, and our conversations basically consist of me telling him he can share with the others because I have more than enough food for everyone, and him saying no. So that's pretty much our conversation. And so I didn't ask him for guidance. I didn't ask for any of that. But in my time of need, the animals brought me a message that I needed to hear. And of course, they were right. There was a miraculous solution to my problems that I would never have fathomed myself. But that was just, it's amazing how when you put yourself in that energy and you help nature, nature is always there for you, 100% of the time. It'll never fail.
Absolutely. It's just that extension of the support system that we have in the ethereal world, that we have it in the physical as well, so that we can see and experience that we're never alone. We always have something that we can turn to for support and for love and for acknowledgement and for confirmation, being able to reach out and say, okay, if today I go for a walk because I'm really feeling that, something beautiful is going to happen that I know is going to bring me back into alignment with myself even more, and through that alignment with source. So I know that, we're talking about the animals, but of course we can't talk about the animals without bringing in the gateway to nature. And that would be what? The fairy realm, right? They're the gatekeepers, the ones who really are there helping to facilitate this whole process for all of us. Can you talk about that?
Of course. There are so many fairies in this world, and not all of them are the same. We could talk for years on fairies and not even get to the meat of the matter. It's, you can just skim it. There's just so much information with that. For purposes of animal communication and just connecting with nature, I like to connect with the nature fairies. They are the guardians of nature and the animal kingdom. So much like we have angels who are there to protect and who work on our behalf, the animals in the plant kingdom, they have fairies. And fairies are different than angels. And something that you at home may be interested in is the fairies they have a reciprocal sort of nature or sort of relationship with us. And that if you do anything for nature, they'll give back to you. So that's kind of fun. You don't expect that, and you don't go into, communicating with animals or being nice to plants because you're going to get anything back, but you will. So it's kind of fun to think of it that way. But yeah, fairies are just, it's a huge topic. There's so many of them, but connecting with fairies is fun and it's easy and always beneficial. Now, the first time I connected with fairies was, many, many, many years ago. And I was having a bad day. I remember it was a really bad day. And this is when I was back home. I was living in Canada at the time. And I was single and I was having a bad day and worrying about how I was going to pay my rent and how I was going to do all those things that, trouble most of us. And I remember I just turned vegetarian at the time. So I had these sad little vegetarian burger patties that I had stuck in my oven. And I went to take cheese out of the fridge and I was out of vegan cheese. I had one sad little slice. So here I am having a tough day, portioning out my cheese and sticking it on my burger patties. And I was really feeling sorry for myself and really having a tough day. And I was standing by the oven thinking while I was waiting for the cheese to melt, and it was time. So I pulled the thing out of the oven and immediately saw there were smiley faces. The cheese had melted into two symmetrical smiley faces on both my burger patties. Exactly. And I have a picture somewhere in iCloud somewhere that I took a picture of this, and there was two happy little faces. And out of the corner of my eye, I was leaning over the oven and I had my arm like this. I saw a little bright spark of light. And
that's the best.
yeah, and what really drew me to that was that it was shining from within. It glowed from within with such a bright light. It didn't, and I'm very logical minded. I have a formal education, so I was thinking, how can fireflies get in here? Is this even possible? Do we have fireflies in Canada? And so I'm thinking all these crazy things. What could it be? Have I stared at the light too much? And and then they started moving, and more than one, and I felt hysterically giggly, like so giggly and so happy. And I just started laughing, and so much joy filled my heart. And that's when I realized it was the fairies. It was the fairies that had come to tell me, basically just stop worrying. This is your break. Because at that time, I spent a lot of time volunteering with animals and doing all of that. Not because I expected anything back, but just because I love nature and I love animals. So when I saw that, I was just like, oh my gosh, fairies are real. Fairies are real.
And I can testify that I've seen them in your screen, because for some reason I've seen them buzz around you, and at different times, and I've seen them just the way you have. And we have fireflies in Vancouver. You don't, just to tell you.
Thank you.
Just to let you know, because I've got confirmation from my daughter who lives out there now. There's no fireflies. I still darn. But the fairies, I've seen them on your screen, and I've seen them zip by, like you say, here.
And some people have that gift, but do know that you don't have to have that gift to connect with fairies. Right. You don't have to see them. You don't have to hear them. You are a feeling human being. So, anyone can connect with them, and all those gifts open up in time.
I have a fairy story. It was like a meditation kind of thing, like I do. And the fairies were showing me that the things that we say, the positive things that we say, and the good intentions that we have are like jewels and coins coming out of us. This is just the way they showed it to me. And they would take those and not keep them for themselves. They would weave them into more blessings and dispense them all around in nature. So that gives you sort of a picture of how we all work together with them. They're taking our best of intentions and our most positive thoughts and using them all around us.
That is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And very true. It's very true. That's how they work. It's almost, you can think of it like a recipe. They are master creators. The fairy realm is very much about manifestation. It's very much about creating your destiny. And just like nature supports each other and works together, when we return to that space where we are also connected, we are part of that experience, and blessings come. You don't have to sit and you don't have to think and worry. It just comes naturally, like Teresa was saying. The fairies were, weave them into these beautiful patterns that are supportive to our purpose and our path.
I love that so much. So beautiful.
I was just wondering about fairies. Like, I sometimes will take out little gifts for them. Like, I have marbles and I stick them around the trees just to leave them out for them. Do they appreciate those gifts? Do they even think about those, or they go, "Oh, what is she doing?"
No,
Littering.
Fairies like shiny things, and so do crows. So
that's true. And raccoons.
But they really do like shiny things. They like, and fairies, the thing about fairies, just to get back on that topic, they are very much fun. And I know in spirituality we're so much about being good people and being and this is all important, and of course we should all aim to be the best we can, but many times it stifles our happiness and our fun and our laughter. Fairies like to laugh. They like to play. They like to dance, and they absolutely love gifts. So anything shiny, jewelry, crystals, marbles, they love that. They absolutely love that. So yeah, if you leave that around for them, they're gonna be your friends. Like for me, I have a little, almost like a little fairy shrine on my table
Oh,
outside, where I have my two garden gnomes, and I have some potted plants, and I have angel wings and some rocks. The raccoons bring me rocks sometimes. And so I
oh,
love rocks. I love, I'm a rock hound, so I love collecting that, and so I put that on the table as well. And it just creates such a magical. Actually, if I have time, I'd love to share a story.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
it's such a fun story. Just probably about 2 years ago, about a year and a half ago, on my last trip, the last trip before the pandemic hit, I was in Colombia, and my coffee table, or my outside table, we had a different one out there. It broke. We had a really bad windstorm, and the table shattered. It was glass. The umbrella hit it and shattered. And we, of course, are out of the country. And my husband is security obsessed, so he had cameras everywhere. And he tuned in first thing in the morning, right before class, and he saw that there was glass everywhere. And so he panicked, because the table was right next to our glass door leading into the house. And so he totally panicked, and he saw a cat outside, and he said, "Oh no, we have three cats at home." So he was panicking. He said, "It's one of the cats, it's one of the cats." And of course, because I'm always in communication with them, I knew it wasn't. But my landlord, we had my landlord go over, and our cat sitter go over, and they send pictures. That glass table is sitting on cement, concrete, and all my garden gnomes, which were plaster, were on top, and so were the plants, all in pottery plant pots. All landed on the concrete. Nothing broke besides the table. The
Wow.
plants were all fine. The gnomes were fine. The window was fine. Everything was totally fine. So how did that glass break? But everything that was on it that landed on the hard cement, nothing broke. And the fairies, I remember when my landlord sent that, I heard my husband was like looking at it, because he didn't believe it, and he didn't believe me when I was telling him, no, it's all good. And it was really funny, because I heard the fairies laughing in my head, laughing, because of course they were going to take care of the garden. Of course they were going to take care of everything.
wow.
Right.
So it was really funny to
Gives you
see how they
chills. Yeah.
help in such a practical way.
I love that so
Wow.
much. Very cool. I mean, those confirmations happen for us all the time. We just have to be aware of them, just being able to ask to see, okay, show me signs, let me know that you're here.
Well, this is the thing. We all communicate with nature. It's a part of us. It's part of what we're meant to do. So when we are aware, and when you're listening to stories like we're sharing, all of us, Rhonda, Teresa, we're all sharing these stories, and this is something. If you're aware of it, you'll have your own stories to tell. Just be mindful, and you'll see that all those signs will come in for you.
Absolutely.
So do you have a meditation that will help this? You were talking about.
Actually, I do. It's more like an invocation, and what that
love
is
that.
going to be calling in the energy of the fairies, and also Archangel Ariel. So just some background. Archangel Ariel is the angel that's in charge of the plant and animal kingdom. She's a protector of nature. And Ariel has a lot of fairy energy around her, and a very high vibration, as well as connecting with with nature. Ariel also helps us with abundance and prosperity,
And the
of
weather.
course, this is wonderful. As my cat's fighting, if you guys hear that. But I think they're seeing lights and stuff. They're going crazy in the corner. But anyway, that's what Ariel does, and so I like working with Ariel, because if you do have any hesitancy with connecting with fairies, Ariel can make that happen so naturally and so easily, because our angels are always there for us, and they wish to empower us. So of course they want us to be connected to nature, because that's empowering. Instead of praying for help, we're going to find that we have the answers, and we can help ourselves. So absolutely, we have an invocation. Are you ladies ready?
Absolutely.
Okay, let's get started. Let's take a deep breath. push out all our worries and all our stresses. Let's relax our shoulders. Let all the tension slowly melt from our body. And let's slip out of those shoes if you have any. And let's plant our feet firmly on the ground. And let's affirm that connection with Mother Nature, with the earth, and with that primal, nurturing flow of energy that we are all a part of and that we can all benefit from. Deep breath in, exhale. Archangel Arielle and the nature fairies, please guide me to a deeper appreciation and connection with the plant and animal kingdom. Help me release any fears and any limiting beliefs I have about animal communication and opening my heart to Mother Earth. I hereby affirm to release any and all guilt I hold over what I can and cannot personally do to help our animal friends. Guide me instead, Archangel Ariel, to all the ways I can make a positive difference. Connect me with the ancient knowledge of advanced civilizations who lived in harmony with nature. Assist me in unlocking any gifts and any wisdom from past lives so that I can remember how connected I truly am to nature. Help me use my gifts to bring healing, support, and assistance to Mother Earth and all her inhabitants for everyone's highest good. Thank you, Archangel Ariel and the nature fairies, for helping me connect with and assist the plant and animal kingdoms. I affirm to always remember that I am a part of this beautiful circle. And as I assist the earth, she in return assists and supports me. And so it is.
So it is.
Yes, that was just beautiful.
Beautiful. As soon as you started, I immediately saw like the spring flower crown being placed on my head. Beautiful, bright flowers glowing. It was just so breathtaking. Thank you for that.
No, it really feels like abundance energy for you. The crown is
beautiful.
That's incredible abundance energy. That's wonderful.
Thank you. That was amazing. I mean, really just so good. I could feel just so many things just activating all around me, just this joyful energy. So thank you for sharing that with us. That was beautiful.
You're very welcome. And then the fairies and nature know what we each need individually. So just opening ourselves up, they'll do that for us. So
absolutely. Nice. Thank you. I'd love to hear what our audience experienced. If anybody wants to comment in and say what they experienced, what they saw, how they feel now, I'd love to hear about that. And I think while we have a little bit more time left, I really want to dive into a little bit further with you mentioned the ancient civilizations, and I think multidimensionality, multidimensional animals as well. Can we talk a little bit about that?
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's a fun topic. No, when we're referring to ancient civilizations, our ancient civilizations, well, they didn't have our technology, besides Atlantis, they had a lot of technology, but ancient civilizations knew that to thrive and prosper, we had to be connected with nature and animals. And a perfect example of that is the ancient civilization of Lemuria. Now, in Lemuria, people connected telepathically with animals, energetically in all ways, and animals were evolved in Lemuria. So they didn't eat each other, they didn't prey on people, they had evolved. And that's something that the fairies and Archangel Ariel would really like us to share today is holding that space for the animal kingdom. They are evolving just like we are evolving. So creating space for them to evolve and to be better is part of our mission. To support them is part of our mission. Now in Lemuria, it's an ancient civilization that wasn't really about money or any of those things. People lived in harmony and they lived doing what they enjoyed doing. And the animals lived with people and they had their own, their own way of doing things. They didn't eat each other. They didn't eat people. We all communicated telepathically in a really beautiful way. And I've always been interested in this energy. And another angel, actually, Archangel Nathaniel, if anyone's interested, actually helped me connect with the energy of Lemuria, because it was something I really was so curious about, because I had dreams of running through forests. And at home, if you have memories of existing with animals, of running barefoot through the forest, through the woods, of lush green foliage, that may be past life memories returning back to you. And when you remember, it's basically like a door being cracked open and saying, it's up to you. You can open it if you want, but here's your blessings. You've been asking about your career. You've been asking about your relationship. Well, here's a door. You open it, and it may not seem that it's going to take you where you need to be, but it will. So in Lemuria, there was such a beautiful connection with all of this energy. Of course, my angels felt it was useful for me to visit. So Archangel Ariel took me under the sea. Lemuria was in the Pacific Ocean. So it's down that chain. This is before the continents really shifted. It was down that chain where we have Hawaii, Fiji, all the way down to New Zealand. And in that, Lemuria existed, and it slowly sunk into the sea, but it was a long time coming. So it wasn't a big dramatic thing. The people knew, and they left to other places. But back to the story, Archangel Nathaniel took me under the ocean, and there was a portal, interdimensional portal, and that space still existed. Because remember, Lemuria was an advanced civilization. They chose to live simply and in connection with nature, but they were advanced. So that space still exists. And when we went under, we popped into this other world where there was sky, there was atmosphere, there was everything. And the first thing I saw was Archangel Arielle and her lion. And they were sitting right there. And the lion had this energy about him. I could hear him very clearly in my mind. And he was a very stable energy. And he reminded me very much about these interdimensional animals that you spoke of, such as the Sasquatch, such as, all of these creatures, the Loch Ness Monster, all of these things that are sort of cryptozoology for most people, but for us in the spiritual world, we realize they're just in different dimensions, and that's why we sometimes can't see them. They pop in and they pop out, unicorns, all of that.
Which explains so much.
Yeah, all it is just energy. So when Nathaniel showed me that, it just opened up this whole other world that, yes, we can connect that energy. We can remember. We can bring it back in. And what they did, how many millions of years ago, we can do that now. Our Earth is always reinventing. It's always going dormant and then springing back to life. It's always been that way.
That's awesome. So exciting. Absolutely. Like I remember hearing at one point that during our time in Lemuria, we each had our own unicorn and our own dragon, like that they were, soul connected with us, and that we had that intuitive ability to communicate, and they served a purpose as, a guide or, some sort of support system. And we did the same for them, and just beautiful connections that we were able to have that we're really bringing in and anchoring in now to this new energy that we're bringing in, it's coming to Earth.
Absolutely. And that's a really good point, Bex, because we still have those connections. It's just most of us can't remember. And so when you meet someone who's I love unicorns, I love unicorns. And you usually meet someone who's younger who says that. And why? Because they're more open. They have, really got it into their head that they're not supposed to see these things the way, society tells us. And so little girls will be obsessed with unicorns. Why? Because they remember. They remember. And so unicorns, all these beautiful things, it's something we can still connect with. We still have those. We each have animal guides, we each have unicorns, we have dragons, we have fairies. They're part of our spiritual support team because there is assistance in every level. We don't have to be the best person, the most connected. We don't have to have all our chakras open in order to receive guidance and assistance. We can be at the absolute worst point and still get assistance because energetically we have help on every single level. So
that love is unconditional, right? No matter where we're at.
It never goes away. We don't have to be amazing people in order to benefit that. I think that's part of the invocation that we recited was part of that we have to let go of our guilt. A lot of people who love animals feel like, well, I'm not doing enough. Well, I'm not being able to connect with animals because I'm not, doing the hard things I can be doing. And our fairies are here to tell us that's not true. That's something, that connection is just there. It's just like how you can walk or speak or see whatever, else you can do, move your hands, whatever it is that you can do that's natural to you. That connection is also natural to you. So letting go of our guilt is really important when we want to connect with nature and also with our fairies, because people who love animals usually hold a lot of guilt. The way we live in this day and age isn't connected. And so we're sort of born with this guilt, this feeling that this isn't right. And if we let that hold us back, we'll never remember that connection. So it's best just to let go of everything, and that little voice that tells you you're not doing enough for animals, or you could do more. Let it go and just understand that no one's judging you. You can always help on any level. Take a water bottle and water a plant. There you go. You're connected to the nature. It's as little as that.
That I love. Yeah, that's so perfect to hear. Like, especially because, things more and more is being revealed to us about what the animals have been experiencing. And so there is a lot of that guilt coming to the surface, that collective guilt of how did it get, to this point? What can we do to help? And every single day we have a choice to send them love, send them healing, ask the angels to come in and intervene. Divine intervention is a beautiful, miraculous thing that we can ask anytime. And that brings me into free will. That was something that we had wanted to discuss as well, which is really important that we talk about free will and why that's an important part of connecting with the angels and with the fairies. Did you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yes, it's really important to understand that we create our own destiny. And that is so important because we can shape the world to be whatever we want it to be. And as part of nature, part of connecting with animals is a big wake up of the divine feminine, which is incredibly empowering. And this is why we need to connect with animals and wake up to that fairy energy, the plant kingdom. Everything has energy. The trees, the water, there's energy everywhere. So that mindfulness of using our free will to connect is everything, because our fairies won't, like angels, they won't intrude on our lives if we don't want them to be there. And so many of us wander through life thinking it's not magical, it's all made up, and I can't do this, and she must have some special gifts, or she's probably working real hard with those animals to get those signs. And really all it is using our free will to say, I invite you into my space. The world I dream of, where I live in a little cabin and bake bread and talk to the woodland creatures, that's possible. We can do that. And so when you open up that realm and say, goddesses, come in, fairies, come in. I want you to be in this space. I want things to return to the way they used to, where there was magic. When we use our free will to incite positive change, we can change the whole world.
Absolutely. And you say you use that when you travel as well, right?
I sure do, and thank you for reminding me.
Yes.
You're like my little fairy today.
I took some notes, I'll tell you.
It's so funny because, you know, my husband's on a trip right now, and the one thing I told him is, please, because I'm not with you, can you please invite Arielle whenever you go, you know, every hour or so on your trip, invite her in to the space you're in so she can help the animals and nature. And so what that means is whenever I travel, I love to travel. And whenever we're in a new place, just driving down the road or whatever, I open up light and I call Archangel Ariel. So I'm going to go over how to do that because I would love for all of you to do the same.
Oh, we do.
Yeah. So
She's my
basically
gal.
all I do is, Archangel Ariel, can you please be in this space? I invite you in to help the animals, to help nature, to help everyone live in peace and harmony. So you can word that however you want. I invite you in to protect. I invite you in to aid, however you want. The important thing is to say, I invite you, or, you know, I'm calling on you, whatever it is, because the earth is our domain. And so if we want the angels, if we want the fairies to work with us, we have to really affirm that connection. And now another thing I do is open light on the road. And what this does is protect the animals from getting run over. And so it's like a tunnel down the road of light.
I put a
And
bubble.
this is what I do. And every time, because I don't like driving at all. And so I'm always the passenger. And why I like being the passenger is because I can do all my angel work and my, you know, protecting the animals. And I see trees are clapping, and you know, you're a gentle soul. It's nice to be able to do that for them because, you know, some of us can't be at shelters working every day. Some of us, you know, can't handle that to work with injured animals. But we can all open space, and we can all open that light down the road. Visualize it in your head. Call on Archangel Ariel. I invite you into this space, and then visualize a tunnel of light all the way down the road. And what that does is it's like a force field. And so the animals won't go past the car.
Yeah. I've seen it happen. Yep.
Seen it happen. And
I've seen it happen.
Yeah, because we drive so much, we'd be heartbroken if we heard anything, and also
Right.
we don't want anyone
I've
else.
had deer turn back, like it's like they said something. And
Like
then
a force field, yeah.
right, and then turn away and go, don't. Like a don't.
Yeah, and if
turn
we
away.
all did this, I mean, we have people viewing here from all over the world. So if we all did this, imagine how wonderful it would be. How many animals would we save?
Right.
And we're also sending our energy to them and saying, you know, I'm sorry about this truck who doesn't know better, but I know better, and I care about you. And this is my energy, you know, working to tell you I care about you and I care about your life. And that firms up that connection. And it's beautiful.
So
That is beautiful.
yeah, because I was using I talked to Archangel Ariel yesterday when we went on our trip. We were 2.5 hours away from us. And one of the things I always ask her to just like, can you just make the rain go around us, you know? Just go around. Works every time.
Works. Yeah, it works.
I can see on the radar how it gets parted. I said, just calm down the storm. We don't need it that bad, you know? We can have the rain, but we don't need the wind and the storm. And sometimes you can just see the radar part. And I know people go, yeah, you're crazy, Rhonda. But I've seen my husband look at it and go, that's weird.
I've seen it happen too. You definitely have wise woman energy, Rhonda, and you definitely can work with energy that way, like an earth goddess. And that energy, some people, I had a friend like that, and she could move the weather patterns and move the clouds. And we can all do these things. But, you know, even me who teaches, there's, you know, certain things I focus on. If we all work together, Rhonda's, you know, moving the weather, I'm, you know, clearing the road. Imagine, it's beautiful. We can save all our animal friends and nature and, you know, return to that perfect world that we all really want and need.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Love it. That is so cool. I had this experience that it's not fairy related, but it is nature related. I never really had such an experience like this before, but one day they were cutting down trees in my yard, and I felt it so deeply, and it hurt so much. I was in such a state of grief listening to them cut those trees and then chewing up the trees and the trees. And I was just like, oh my God, like I've never felt such pain. I took some crystals. I intuitively found, like, went through and picked crystals out of my collection and brought them out and put them around the trees. And I was like, I'm so sorry. I love you so much. Thank you for, existing. Like, it was such a powerful experience for me. Like, I just had hit such a deep connection with those trees, and I didn't even know what I was doing. My kids were like, Mom, what are you doing? You're crazy. And I was like, just let me have this moment. Like, this is important. I don't know why, but for me, it was just like, wow.
No,
Yeah.
it's the same way. There's so many of us that once you tune into that energy, trees they're sentient.
Yeah.
They
Absolutely.
And it's scientifically proven that trees speak to each other and they help each other grow and they help each other survive. And it's therapeutic for us. In Japan, they call it forest bathing, where the government encourages people to go into the forest because the natural energy from the trees, it's healing and it's stress relieving. For me, the first time I woke up to the fact that you could speak to trees, I was with a friend and I was walking through downtown Vancouver, and there's not a lot of, all the trees are like prisoner trees. They're in the middle of concrete,
Right.
and so you wouldn't think that it's a forest or nature, but of course it is. It's a tree. Of course it's nature. It anchors that light. And so she was like, you can talk to trees. I'm like, yeah, you're crazy. And I thought she was nuts. I really thought she was nuts. I thought she was just exaggerating. And I thought, okay, I don't know about you, but whatever. And so being a bit of a smart one, sarcastic, I said, well, okay, well, what's its name? If you can talk to them, if it has, what's its name? And right away in my head, I heard marked very clearly, marked. And she turned to me and she said, its name is Mart. I thought,
oh my goodness.
Oh, God.
Serious. So from then on, I mean, trees have sentience. They have, they all have sentience, and a lot of them, the big ones, the old ones, they house tree spirits, ancient knowledge, ancient knowledge. Like our crystals hold that energy. These trees do. One thing I like to do is when I'm a shy person. So when I speak in front of a large group, I always feel very energetically exhausted and like I've been through, a lot. Sometimes I'll speak in front of hundreds of people. And what I do, the second I'm off stage, I run outside and go sit by a tree, hug a tree. And it's like your energy just comes back to yourself and everything is okay.
Yeah.
And I always tell my students, if they Reiki a tree, you'll get back twice as much. So go Reiki a tree. If you can't Reiki anybody, just Reiki a tree, and you'll feel it flow back into you, and you instantly ground it. They love getting Reiki. So
it puts you in that connected. And the best way I can describe it is once you connect to nature, nature always remembers you. Right. And for me, I always work with animals, and it's just something I do, and they're always there for me when I need them. Always. Even insects. Many years ago, I lived by the beach, and I had a dream one night that there was a little bee on my shoulder, and he needed help. And I woke up that morning and I thought, that's strange. I don't even like bugs. Why was I dreaming about a bee? And so I went down my walk, and it was about an hour, over an hour, to the other end of the beach. It was this huge beach, and it was wide. It was really, really wide. And a bee landed on my shoulder in the middle of nowhere. And there wasn't any trees because it's a beach. And so it's just this vast ocean and this vast amount of sand, and the poor thing was lost. And so I told him, look, I'm in the middle of my walk, so if you want help, just sit there and wait. And I just told him using my words. There's no secret gifts or anything involved. I just used my words. And he sat on my shoulder for over 2 hours, back down the beach, all the way back, when I was finally able to take him to some plants, and he wouldn't go. So I went up to my apartment. I rode with him through the elevator, talked very normally, as if I didn't have a bee on my shoulder. And, and he just sat there. And my husband, when I came home, said, no, I'm scared of bees. You have to tell him to leave. So I went up to my balcony and I said, okay, my friend, there's nothing for you inside the house, but you're safe on the balcony and there's plants here. You can leave. And he left. And now I'm so connected with bees because of that experience. And bees are abundance also. And they're sort of like the energy of passion, of drive, of creating for yourself. That's what they bring to you. And now, whenever there's a bee that lands in my pool or needs help, I know I'll just get up and I'll go fish them out. Bees are always sitting on me. Bees are trying to get into my car, much to, you know, my relatives' dismay. They're always trying to get in because they know, well, you're a friend. You're part of our energy now. So this is how you can work with them as well. Try to do one little thing and you'll find all of nature sort of respond to you.
Peroshini, I have to just tell you this story because it happened 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
So we're out walking on Monday night and it's dark and something's flapping on the road. And I go, oh, the kid said it's a fish. I said, this is not a fish. It's a mourning dove. And I said, oh, it must have got hit by a car and it's just been stunned. So I put it in my neighbor's tree on Monday night. And I said, there, you're safe up there, away from cats and everything. You know, once you wake up, you'll be fine next morning. So 2 days later, I'm driving down my laneway and a mourning dove walks in front of my car. 2 days later. And I thought, oh, that can't be. So I walk out, he kind of flapping his wing. I said, oh, he must have injured his wing. It's got to be the same mourning dove. And I said, well, this mourning dove apparently needs me to take it somewhere where it can be fixed. Yeah. So I have him in my box in my house and he's just, you know, he's eating and he's drinking, he's doing all the things. And I said, well, but I can't fix your wing. I can Reiki you, but I can't fix your wing. So I took it down to our special animal rescue that we have about an hour and a half away. And so I took it down that night and I said, yeah, this one's really wants to live. It's lived 2 days by itself. So, but that's what I mean. You're connected. Once they go, like, it's like, yeah, what if anybody was pointing a finger saying, you need to fix this, you know, you need to help this. That's the way it was. So it came back and found me.
That's a beautiful, beautiful story, Rhonda. And it reminds us of how we can help. And also the fairies, they're prodding me right now to tell you that all of you out there that are, we all are different. Not all of us can work with domestic animals. And I know for myself, I always had a problem because I wanted to take them all home. And so I felt a lot of guilt that I wasn't able to help. But Rhonda's story is perfect because you can always work at a wild animal refuge. These places need our help. And it's a lot easier on your heart because you can't take the animals home. They're wild. And so that helps you create healthy boundaries. You can do your job and you can leave after. It's incredibly rewarding. So if you every place has an animal organization assisting wild and injured animals, volunteer. It's the most beautiful way to connect with nature and to learn, to practice your gifts of, you know, animal communication, sending them Reiki, and just getting into that flow of energy. It's very rewarding. You're going to get back a lot more than you're giving. Really, that is the way it feels.
Yeah, that is awesome. That's exactly. So if people would like to connect with you further, how can they find you?
They can find me on Facebook, on Instagram, on all sorts of social media. I'm also going to be starting more on YouTube and having more free videos out there. So you can just, the easiest way is at Peroshini. And I know my name is just a mouthful, but you can copy and paste that. And it'll take you anywhere where I am. I share on all my social media platforms, different posts, different things. So you're never going to get the same information. It's always different. I teach in person. Well, when teaching in person was a thing. But you can find me pretty much anywhere.
Yes. And what kind of courses do you offer online on your website?
I offer courses. Right now I'm working on the animal communication. If you're interested in that, that will be released later on in October, early part of November. I teach about angels as well, which is works well with animal communications because we learn a lot about Archangel Arielle, which is a friend to the animals. She's amazing. My classes are all about empowerment. I guess that would be the best way to say it. It's about empowering yourself as a light worker, as a sensitive person. If you're empathic, it's all connected. So no matter what area you are feeling a pull towards, it will open up everything for you. And that's why I kind of do a little bit of everything, but mostly empower yourself.
Yes, absolutely. And I highly, highly recommend you. You have such an amazing, amazing energy. And I am so honored to be able to hang out with you again. And I absolutely look forward to the next stream that's going to prompt me to message you for our next show in the future, because I love that. I call it like the Peroshini bat signal now.
Ooh.
I get a dream of you and Charles and we're hanging out and I'm like, oh, it's time. Every time. Yep.
And it's always perfectly timed.
It is.
Bex had no idea that I was doing an animal communication right now. She had no idea that I was recording that. But when you reached out to me, that's what I was doing, and that's what I say about being in the flow of the energy. I actually have like a ton of other people that have reached out for me for specifically animal communication, just at the time that I just happened to be working on an animal communication class. That's nature, and that's how nature will assist you the same way it's assisting me. It just brings everything together when you need it.
Absolutely. And it was just so amazing, the dreams. I had two of them right before when I first messaged Peroshini and then shortly after. And they were both of Charles and Peroshini working together with like zoo animals. Mostly lions are what showed up. One was healing. The first one was them healing the animals. The second one was them calling them in and working with their energy. And it just so aligns with this course that you've been creating. And it's just so amazing. And I was honored to be able to have that experience of the dream world of doing that work with you. So I can't wait to see what this course is going to be like.
Yeah, just before we end, I wanted just to touch a little bit of your dream because it was so powerful to me as well. Bringing in the animals, the return to the old ways, where you see those beautiful goddesses walking barefoot on the earth, and the animals, those big, powerful animals are coming in right now, ascended, more than evolved, lions, all these animals that were supposedly extinct, Tasmanian tigers and all of these things that people didn't think were still around. We're seeing Sasquatch, we're seeing all of these creatures. It's time now to open our planet back. We've lived separate from nature for so long. And as we can see, it's not beneficial to anyone. So it's time to return. It's time to call in those animals. If you feel guided even a little, open your heart space to that and affirm. It's time to return back to that way of life.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Just
Thank
one
you
more
so much for having
question
me.
for you.
Such a pleasure. Of course.
And it's the musical question. And it's my turn to ask. So if you had a theme song for your life right now, do you have one? Do you have one that you can share with us?
I always share the same song. I have different themes. Right now I'm into I love female artists. That's really where my heart is, because I love the journey of womanhood and the challenges that each of us go into and the support system that women have for each other. I'm very much a part of that. But my theme song actually is from a male. It's Pharrell Williams, the Happy Song. That is song. And that's because everything can be cured with the right attitude. Our life is never going, it's not always perfect. It's not always without challenges. But if we remember and stay mindful of enjoying each moment, no matter how, whatever is happening in the past or in the future, just be happy for that moment. It lifts you up and raises your vibration. So you're at a different plane where things don't feel as bad and where you can create a life that resonates with your heart. So happy. Just be happy. Enjoy life. That's what our fairies teach us. So they're big on partying and dancing. And, that's what we should do too. We should enjoy life. Stop feeling guilty. Stop, pushing yourself down and thinking you're not doing enough or you not are enough. Enjoy life. That's all that we're here for, is to live and enjoy and experience and share.
Right. Don't take everything so seriously. The fairies wouldn't be able to fly if they took everything so seriously.
And the thing is, I am that's exactly it. And I'm, think Tinkerbell. I'm a very serious-minded person. And when I was introduced to the fairy realm, it was because I needed to play more. I needed to laugh more. I needed to have fun more. And it opened up my abundance. It opened up my drive and my passion, and it made me interested in life. Many of us are so sensitive that we feel a disconnect from this world. It's too harsh for us. We're not meant for these challenges we experience. And so when we are in that flow with nature, it makes us feel like there's a reason for living, and life is fun again, and life is magical, and you don't feel at odds with the world. You feel like you feel supported, and me being on the show is part of that. All three of you, you're like goddesses in the corner here. Everybody has their own little special thing that they bring. And this is how the universe supports us. They brought us together as they've brought together everyone who's listening at home. We're all connected. Yes. And to share this energy. And I'm not leaving out you men out there. If anyone's listening, you are also a part of this energy, you know, a perfect male energy. You're a light worker. If you're at all interested in this right now, it involves the divine feminine. It involves your beautiful energy as a male. So bringing that energy into this mix shifts our planet in such positive ways.
That's awesome. And it kind of segues into my next thing, which is the winner of last week's share out. And it's one of our divine male viewers. Kirith, you won. You won a session with Teresa. So remember, whoever shares it out the most, I think this week, shares out Peroshini's episode, will win a 30-minute healing with me. I believe it's this time.
It is.
So please share it out. And love to have you all. And thank you again, Peroshini, for your generous
time. Always an honor and a pleasure. Thank you so much.
And of course, there's always an open invitation to come up and visit me whenever you can get across the border again.
I know.
It's funny. I have lots of people come and visit me from all over the world, so it's great.
That would be a magical experience. Thank you so much.
The fairies are waiting. I can hear them. Okay. Thanks, everyone, and happy Canadian Thanksgiving to all our Canadian viewers again, and to you, Peroshini.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Have a blessed week.
Namaste.